Hi there, it's Michelle from Knitting on the Side. It is Sunday, May the 3rd, and so I am here to give you an update on what I've been working on. I'm going to start off with a few finished objects. I was making a Sophie scarf using some lace weight merino yarn, and I've gotten that finished completely. And I blocked it last night. I didn't measure it to see how long it is, but it makes a good length to go around the neck twice and have plenty to tie it with. It's a pretty good size for a Sophie scarf. So I'm pretty happy about that. It softened up quite a bit when I washed it and blocked it. And merino's soft anyways, so it's just really super soft now. So this is going to go get sent to its new owner. I have a little bit of yarn left, and I'm going to send that along as well with it because the person that I'm sending it to knows how to knit and crochet, and so she can repair it if she needs to. Plus, then I'm not trying to figure out what to do with those little bit of leftovers. So for a few stats on this, my balls that I started with were 24.5 grams a piece, and I started by doing the increases and stuff like you do. I got to a point that I thought it was wide enough, and then I just worked straight for a while, and I kind of measured to see how much yarn I would have left over so I could use up most of it. Measured a little bit wrong. I have a little bit extra left than I planned to. I think I had done my math wrong when I subtracted for this part, but then I did my decreases and came out with a really nice length for a scarf. I have left over 3.5 grams of gray and 4 grams of this dark kind of purplish color, dark plum. And this is Lang Yarns Merino 400 lace. I don't know what the actual color numbers are because I've misplaced the labels. I don't usually do that, but I did. And I used this size 4 needles just like you do according to the pattern. So, I did measure it. It's 44 inches long, 4.25 inches wide. That's approximately 112 centimeters long by 11 centimeters wide in case you're not in the US. So that is a finished project, and that is lace weight yarn I will no longer have in my stash, which is great. I have not started the other project that I wanted to do with lace weight yet, and that was the mixed rib cami with this lace weight here, and I'm going to start that next on my old stash yarn project things. I have also finished my Petal drop socks. These are patterned by Florence Miller called Petal drop socks. The yarn is Paton's Kroy sock yarn in the color Saltwater. It's a really pretty blue color. And I love the Paton's Kroy sock yarn. It's warm, it's very durable. I haven't worn a hole in any of the Paton's Kroy socks that I've made. So I used 83.5 grams of yarn. I wear a size 11 wide in women's, so they're pretty long. So I didn't do a whole lot on the cuff because I didn't want to get down to the toes and then run out of yarn. So I did a little bit less on the cuff than I sometimes do. Usually I'll make my socks a little bit taller, but I thought I would rather make sure that I can make it all the way through and not have to do a different color for the toe. So I just did the cuff a little bit shorter than I would usually, and they fit really nice. They came out good. I finished them up, I think Friday night, and yesterday I put them on and wore them for just a little bit before I wove the ends in on the toes in case I would need to take it out and make them a little bit longer. So I wore them around for about an hour, switched them on my feet just to make sure that one didn't feel weird on one foot or on the other foot, or, because sometimes socks feel different on your opposite feet. So I wanted to make sure they felt okay on both feet and make sure that they were long enough. And they were, so I went ahead and wove my ends in, washed them, blocked them, and they are ready to go. So that is another finished project. And I am done with my sock blockers now. I can put those away. I have 12 grams of that yarn left over, and I think I'm just going to make puffs for my beekeeper's quilt because it's not really a whole lot of sock yarn, so I might as well just finish it up making a few puffs. I think I could probably make about 3 or 4. And then I've also started this blanket. This is Lion Brand Cover Story yarn that I had found on clearance. I showed you guys the cake of it last week. When I looked at the label, it recommends a size US 11 knitting needle. So I just pulled out my size 11 knitting needles and started knitting away. And I think I was done with the first repeat. And I was thinking, well, what size is that in millimeters? Because I was just kind of curious. So I pulled out my pattern and looked at it. And on the pattern, it says to use a size 15 knitting needle. But I don't think that I'd want a size 15 knitting needle because these are 11s. These are, I don't even know what that is, 8 millimeter. And the size 15 is 10 millimeter. But the fabric that this is making, it's more dense than it would be on a 15 or 10 millimeter. But since this is going to be for a baby, I really don't want big gaping holes between the stitches where a baby could get their finger in there and twist it around or something. So I'm kind of happy that I made that mistake or, didn't follow the pattern to that part of it, because I think this is going to be a better fabric for a baby blanket. And it's been a little chilly the past few days, so having this on my lap while I'm knitting on it has really actually been comfortable. But that is what it's looking like. And I've been measuring the last 2 sections because you do so many rows of stockinette and then some garter stitch rows. So I've been keeping track of the weight of the yarn so that I know when I'm getting close and I need to save enough to do the last part of the border so that I can use up as much of it as I can and still come out even on the blanket, because I want the top edge to match the bottom edge as far as like the number of rows on the garter. So I'm keeping a close eye on that, and I think I have enough for about 5 more sections. Each section is this long, about, 4 inches. So that's going to be it'll be a good size baby blanket because it'll be out here. I mean, I can't even get it all in screen, so I'm happy with how that's working out. I have not pulled out my Splendor Circle Coat to work on it yet either because I've been working so much on the blanket. And as far as like my new yarn project is the Anker Tee. I got to a point here. I've probably added a little over an inch since I showed you guys last. It's kind of hard to tell. But I've gotten to a point where I am very close to needing to change my ball. So I wanted to show you kind of what I do, because I'm still on the yoke portion of this shirt. I haven't gotten underneath the arms yet, and I like to keep my yarn ball changes, like I told you before, underneath the arms so that your arms kind of hide any little lump or imperfection that might happen there. But since I am above that point right now, any change that I make in it would be like on the chest, on the shoulders, or on the back. the best place, in my opinion, at this point to make that change is going to be at the center back by my beginning of round marker. So I want to make sure that I have enough yarn to get all the way around here. I know I'm close. I know this should probably do 2 rounds because I've kind of been watching how much I use as I go. And I think I can get 2 rounds out of here, but I want to make sure. So I'm going to find the end of my yarn, and I might be able to get 3. I don't know. It's looking like more now that I'm rolling it out here. But what I'm going to do to see how much yarn I'm using each round, to see how many rounds I can get out of this, I'm going to measure off a little bit longer than what I need here so that I'll have a tail for weaving in. And I'm going to take the other 2 longer sides of my yarn, and I'm going to find the center point, and this is looking like way more than I thought it was. Okay, so here is about where the center point of what I have left is. I'm going to make a little slip knot, and I'm going to put a stitch marker on here, a removable stitch marker, and that way I can make sure my little slip knot doesn't come undone, and I can mark where it's at, and it'll hold it there. And then I'm going to go ahead and knit around on my shirt and see what kind of yarn I have left after that round. So I'm going to pause you guys. I'm going to go ahead and knit this round, and then I'll show you what I do after that point so that I can make sure that I have enough to make it around to where I want to join my yarn. So hang on. All right, I'm back. I made it around my row, and I had more yarn on this ball than I thought I did because I am still that far away from my stitch marker. So what I'm going to do is measure it again. I'm going to do the same process. I'm going to remove my little stitch marker and take out my slip knot. Find the end of my yarn and leave a tail. And then I'm going to go down here and find the center point of what I have left again without making knots in it. Okay, here's my center point. I am going to make another slip knot and put the stitch marker on it. Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and do another round because I might be able to get 3 rounds out of that amount of yarn instead of just the 2 that I was thinking earlier. So I'm going to go ahead and knit another round and then come back and show you how I end up on that, whether or not I can make it to my stitch marker again or not, and then I will know if I can get 2 full rounds. If I can only get 1 round and have extra, we'll see. So I will knit this other round and get back with you. All right, so I'm back again. I finished. Well, I didn't finish. I knitted around until I got to my stitch marker, and I still have more to go. So I know now that what I have left is not enough to make it all the way around again. If I was at the point where I had already separated for sleeves, normally you do your beginning of round marker underneath your arm. And then I will go ahead and mark the other side underneath the arm, because if I'm doing through the body, I want to put my yarn changes at a side seam. And I don't care if it's on the left side or the right side, it doesn't matter to me. I just want to do it at a side seam. So I will go ahead and mark both of them, and then I can either change over here or over here. This, if I was doing a side seam, I would have enough to make it around to the side seam again. but not clear around to the beginning of round marker. So, I mean, I'm not going to worry about this little piece. I'm going to go ahead and cut it off when I get around here. But just so you know, that's one way to kind of control where you make your joins. You know, you don't want it to be like right in the middle of your chest where everybody's going to see it. So that's how I do it. Since I have finished that sock project, I did go ahead and pull out my Drops Fiesta. This is a DK weight sock yarn, and I have never made a pair of DK weight socks, and I'm not really sure how much I will be able to get out of them as far as how much cuff to foot ratio that I'll get. This yarn that I used here, this Paton's Kroy sock yarn, this is considered a fingering weight. It's almost more like a sport weight. It's kind of heavy for fingering, but this was a 50-gram ball, and so I used all but 6 grams of each ball on this thing, on this pair of socks. But I don't know on the thicker weight yarn how much I would be able to knit before I needed to start the foot to be able to use up pretty much all of this yarn. So for my next pair of socks, it's going to be a few things that I haven't ever done before. I've never done DK weight socks. I have never done ToeUp, and I've never done a Fleegle heel. So the next pair, I've picked out a pattern that I'm going to start at the toe and then work my way up, do a new type of heel to me called a Fleegle heel, and then I will continue to knit up the cuff of the sock until I run out of yarn and just have enough to do the bind off, so that I can use up all that I can on that Drops Fiesta. It's really pretty. It's kind of an off-white sort of color with pinks and kind of a dusty bluish gray. I really like it. I'm hoping they make pretty socks. But yeah, so the next pair is going to be really different for me. DK, ToeUp, Fleegle heel. It'll be a whole new adventure. Hopefully I can figure it out. Surely I should be able to. It shouldn't be too hard, but and then the other day I was thinking of ways to use up some of my scraps. I was kind of looking through some totes and stuff, and I'd been looking at patterns online, and I came across some yarn baskets that people had made using scraps, and they would just start crocheting a base and then crochet up the sides, changing out colors as they run out of one type of scrap and going into another color. So I pulled out a bunch of scraps and I kind of started playing around and testing it. And my circle's not flat. I haven't worked out how many stitches I really need for it to lay flat yet, but I really think that's working out pretty cool. The way the colors are. This kind of color palette kind of reminds me of the 80s almost. The greens and oranges and yellows and stuff. So, but I pulled out lots of different yarns. I've got like 3 big containers over here of yarns that I thought would be suitable for making baskets, because some of them, I don't know if they're wool or acrylic. I don't know if they're hand wash or if they're machine wash. So I don't really want to like put them in a blanket, because a blanket, you have to wash it regularly. A basket, you really don't, you know, and you could just hand wash it a bit, let it air dry. So I think that's what I'm going to do with some of these scraps. I think that'd be a lot of fun. And I don't know if I really want to do the bottom, or if I want to see if maybe I can cut some wood out and then drill some holes around it and crochet off of that to do the sides, you know, kind of build it up, you know, like have a wooden bottom and then build the sides up with crochet so that the bottom is nice and solid. I don't know yet. I'm thinking about it. This is in my brain, something that I'm going to eventually do. I will eventually do it, but I don't know if I'm going to do a yarn bottom or a wooden bottom or what for sure yet. But that's something I'm kind of churning up here, and I'll figure it out. While I was looking for scrap yarn, I came across more of this. If you watched my first vlog episode, you saw that I had like 5 skeins of this yarn that I had made a rug out of, and I thought that I had pretty much used all of it up. And then I come across a bag that has 3 skeins in it, or hanks, I guess they're hanks. I really thought I'd used all my yarn up. The last time I made a rug, and it was a great size. It was probably about like that, you know. And I have a small bathroom, so it was a great size for in our little bathroom. This is not going to make anything that big if I were to crochet it the same way that I had done the last one. But I'm thinking perhaps using this as kind of a core sort of thing, and then crocheting around it, and just use this kind of as a bulky base, and use a little skinnier cotton yarn to hold it together. I've done that before with t-shirt yarn and made a rug, and I really like that one. It works really well. So I think I might do that with this, because if I do that, it's going to make this stretch farther than it would if I actually just crochet with this. So I should be able to get a decent size out of it. But I don't know if it would be better used for something else. It's kind of it's a thick yarn, probably a super bulky weight. It's got some, like, it looks like rust spots on it, which is not really going to bother me on a rug, because you throw the rug on the floor, you walk on it, it gets dirty, you wash it. They're always going to get a little bit of stains and dirt on them. And depending on where you put them in your house, you know, put them by a door, nobody cares. But then if I go around it and I use a darker color yarn, it'll hide a lot of that too. I don't know. I do not know. If you have an idea, let me know. But so far right now, what I'm thinking is just crochet around it. But I was so disappointed when I found all this, because I could have just made that original rug a little bit bigger. I suppose I still could, but I kind of like the size of it right now. I don't think I need it any bigger, and I don't really want to have this yarn that has a little bit more staining onto that one. That one just has a couple of little tiny spots. But I'm not sure. I'll figure it out, I suppose, unless you guys have a better idea. And then I also pulled out some other scrap yarns that I had gotten from Arthur. His widow had sold all of his stash. He was a textile artist, and he would take like a full skein of yarn and chop them up into and make little mini hanks out of them. Each one of those is like 10 to 12 grams. And you know, I've got these different colors. They don't really, some of them don't really go together. I guess there's another one. They don't really go together all that great, some of them, but I think I can make them work. And there was one full skein in there, so I know what it is, which is helpful. It's Paton's Diana. It is a 70% acrylic, 30% nylon. And these, it's got some sheen to it, some shiny things in here. And these shiny parts, they come out fairly easily. So I'm not going to make baby hats with this yarn, because I don't want a baby hat to be like shedding on the kid. I don't think that'd be a good idea. With they, you know, they can't probably cough up a fiber like an adult could if they needed to. Don't want to take a chance on it, so I'm not going to do baby stuff with this. I think I'll just do adult hats. But yeah, I think I'm just going to make hats with this stuff and use it up, because there's a pretty good sized portion in here. I could probably get, I think I could get 3 hats out of this, to be honest. So I think I'm going to do that and use that stuff up. Hats are pretty quick. But I think that's all I have for you guys right now. That's took care of all of my works in progress that are active. Not all of them are very active. Um, Everything that I finished, and I'm going to get those socks put in my sock drawer and get that scarf sent out of here so I don't have to see it anymore. But that is everything I've got this time, and next time probably have some hats to show you. You guys have a great day. Bye.